Hey guys, welcome back to Rooted Hearts Homestead. Today, Joseph is home, and I am so excited that we are able to take you through how he makes our homestead breakfast. I hope you enjoy.
Good morning, everyone. Today we're making Belgian waffles out of my 25-year-old Better Homes and Gardens cookbook. We've got goat milk here from our goats, white spelt flour. We use spelt flour because it's an ancient grain. It has a little bit different gluten profile, and for those with gluten sensitivities, it's easier on the stomach. These are 6 eggs from our chickens. We've separated the yolks and the whites, lard from our pasture-raised pigs, and some baking powder and Himalayan pink salt. We've got our waffle iron over here heating up. This is a square model that does 4 waffles at a time, basically 2 per person, so that's a couple servings at once. To go on top of the waffles, we'll make a blueberry fruit topping. This is some canned blueberries that Kimberly made up last summer. We'll heat those up in a saucepan on the stove along with a little sugar and some thickener. And then we're going to serve some of our homemade Canadian bacon along with this as well. To make the waffles, we'll start by adding our white spelt flour to this mixing bowl, and then add the other dry ingredients, our baking powder and our Himalayan pink salt. You can use any salt, we just like to use pink salt. Mix all that together, making sure that the baking powder is incorporated with no clumps, and then form a well there for the wet ingredients in the middle. Next, we'll combine the wet ingredients. We'll start by mixing up the egg yolks. We separate the egg yolks and the egg whites, and we'll show you why here in a moment. And then once those are good and mixed together, we'll add those into our goat milk. You can use any milk that you like. We use goat milk because this is what we produce here on the homestead. Actually, at the moment, she's getting about 3 cups a day, so this is 2 days worth of goat milk just to make these waffles. Once those egg yolks are combined with the milk, next we'll mix in our lard. Lard is usually solid at room temperature, so we actually heated this up a little bit on the stove to liquefy it. It also helps if your milk is a little bit warm. Once that's all together, we'll pour that right into the middle of our flour mixture and then start combining it with a spatula. Generally, waffle batter and pancake batter as well, you want to be a little bit lumpy so as not to overwork the mix. There's a fine line between texture and getting all the flour incorporated, however. With the egg whites, we'll beat them to form soft peaks, as close as we can get. By mixing in beaten egg white, we can incorporate some extra air into our finished waffle and get a little bit nicer texture, that light, fluffy on the inside, crunchy on the outside waffle that everybody loves. It's a useful technique. It's very important at this stage not to mix the batter too much. You want to maintain as many of those air bubbles in those egg whites as you can, because that's what adds that nice light texture to the finished waffle. Batter's looking great here. Mix is good, and we're ready to start cooking waffles. This is a cooking spray made from avocado oil. We get it from Costco, and it seems to be a nice alternative to Pam or some of the conventional canola cooking sprays. Very important to grease your waffle iron. You don't want this to stick. I'm not super precise in my measurement. We had about 1.5 cups of batter there, which would be a little over 1/4 cup per section. We're just looking to pretty much fill the lower half of the iron, make sure that there's batter all the way around the various pockets, and you can see it spreads out and levels pretty well on its own. And then we close it up. While this first batch of waffles is going, we'll start our blueberry topping. We'll take 1 quart of our canned blueberries. These are blueberries from the farm that I manage, and get those heating up in a saucepan on the stove. That's just blueberries and some blueberry juice that comes out during the canning process. To that, we'll add a little bit of lemon juice, some sugar, and some seasonings. Let's see how these look. Ah, perfect color. It could be a little bit fuller, but otherwise, those are some excellent looking waffles. Because of our family size, we have to do multiple batches before we have enough for everyone to sit down. So we'll hold these in our toaster oven, preheated, and then toast from time to time just to keep them nice and crisp while we're making all of our batches. This is 1/3 cup of water and 3 tablespoons of cornstarch that we're mixing into our hot blueberry mixture. We'll use this to thicken it up and get more of a syrup or topping type consistency to those canned berries. Second batch of waffles is coming along nicely. And there's 1/3 cup of cane sugar that we've added to that hot blueberry mix on the stove. Along to that, we're going to add some lemon juice for a little bit of acidity. This is approximately 2 tablespoons, best guess. And some nutmeg. I prefer nutmeg for fruit toppings as opposed to cinnamon, and we add a healthy amount. We'll mix this all together, turn it down to simmer, and once it's thickened up a little bit more, it's ready to go. We're serving sausage patties along with the waffles and Canadian bacon. I'm just weighing out 2 pounds. This is some more of our ground pastured pork. To season our ground pork, we're going to use Kinder's seasoning. This is salt, pepper, and garlic powder. It's a nice blend. We use it on a number of different dishes. 1 tablespoon. Toss that right on and mix it all together until fully incorporated. Now we have sausage. We're going to do this in the oven. While I'm off getting a sheet pan, Kim's pulling out that batch of waffles and into the toaster oven. We'll get more waffles going here since that takes the longest. We'll take our ground sausage and form it into 1.5 to 2 inch balls and lay them out on a lined sheet pan. These weigh approximately an 1.5 ounces per, and out of 2 pounds, I think we ended up with about 21 patties. Well, if we'll flatten these out, approximately 1/2 inch thick, and generally 2 patties makes for a nice serving of sausage with breakfast. Once these are all flattened, then it's into the oven. We bake these at 325 for 10 to 12 minutes. Sampling the blueberry topping turned out pretty good. You could taste the lemon juice slightly and a hint of spice. I was very happy with it. Next batch of waffles coming out. We find it's easiest to go ahead and plate the dishes at the counter as opposed to taking all of the food over to the dining table. So in this case, we've got 7 plates lined up, and I'm just waiting on this last batch of waffles to come out so that we can start assembling them. 2 waffles per plate for the bigger kids. Little kids get 1 waffle and we tear it up for them so it's easier to eat. Regular assembly line. The Canadian bacon that we showed early in the video, we put that on a sheet pan and just heat it up a little bit in the oven as well. Canadian bacon is generally pre-cooked during the smoking process, so it just needed to be heated up a little bit to be tasty. We've got those 2 sausage patties per going on each plate. One for the younger kids. And then we follow that up with some Canadian bacon as well. Next up is the blueberry topping. You can see this thickened up quite nicely and is perfect on top of these Belgian waffles. In this breakfast, we have Canadian bacon and sausage from hogs that we raised in our pasture, milk, eggs, and lard in the waffles, all produced right here on the homestead, and the blueberries in the topping are from blueberries from the farm that I manage. And there it is, family breakfast on Saturday morning. Thanks for watching.
We'll see you guys next week. Bye.